So I want to start off. We've discussed the way that data is gathered and analyzed. But even if this data is analyzed in helpful ways, it's meaningless to the public unless, as Michelle said, it can be structured into conceptual spaces that facilitate human decision-making. So in designing these, what is the most significant difference in your design choices when you're designing visualizations of public opinion meant for the public rather than for a specialist audience?
So you want each of us to say a few words about it, or
anybody who wants to talk about it?
So in my view, I think one of our goals, even though IBM doesn't really manufacture what we call the consumerware, either software or hardware anymore, and so the goal for us is we always want to make any tools that can be used by the general public, which means the everyday Joes, right? So they don't necessarily have the knowledge of a computer scientist or kind of a graphic artist. So, but they can still take advantage of the data. I mean, if you, in your case, the public opinions, but really make the best out of it. So that's in our actual definition, what we are using, developing those tools or technologies to help the public, actually, the public at large, right? At large.
Ken, haven't you done usability studies on opinion space? How do people fare with that?
Well, it's interesting. We're always struggling with the public. The bar is extremely high, I would have to say, because there's so many great interfaces out there, and it is very humbling to build a system and then see the amount of people who participate. And an example of this was we developed a system for Proposition 30. It was about rapid mobilization right around the time of the last election. And of course, since we were here at campus, we had to be neutral. So the site was about being aware of the proposition, and we had pros and cons and everything listed. And then we had a way for people to visualize the results. So once you registered, said you were aware, then you could send a new URL to other friends, and it would keep track of how your influence had propagated. So we were very excited about this, and we estimate that about 10,000 people visited. Of that, only less than 500 actually clicked agree. And all you had to do, it was a very trivial, simple thing, and all you had to do is click one button, and only a very small fraction did. So that is really eye-opening for us, and it's something we're really struggling with, is how do you make a system that will really be engaging? And it's a fascinating challenge.
Yeah, I think that I think my mic's on. I think, so information visualization in some ways, it may be at the School of Information, sort of fits under the umbrella of human-computer interaction, which has this whole element of usability. So how can people respond to interfaces? How well do they use computer interfaces? And I think, that's a pretty well, there are a lot of great principles that are there, and I think that those are sort of people try to bring those to bear in information visualization. But one of the most surprising things to me, having done a little bit of work in information visualization, is that there's almost a complete lack of usability studies for these visualizations. People they build, myself included, they build the visualizations and then they don't really evaluate, are they meeting their goals? Are people able to receive and understand the information that was intended by the visualization? Maybe all visualizations have different intentions. Some of them are explore and look through and find your own path, and that's cool. But there is sort of a surprising lack of usability studies. And I think one of the most sobering findings of the information visualization literature is that a lot of people struggle with visualizations. And probably if you're trying to make your visualization accessible, you should use a bar chart. And that's not super fun for all the artists in our field. You can use a line graph. That's OK. But time series is more difficult for people to interpret. Scatter plots, which was the basis of our visualizations that you heard about today, those are difficult for people to interpret. So if you're trying to reach a broad audience, you really, it's a real struggle. But if you narrow your audience a little bit to people who are interested in your field or are more academically interested, then you can probably get away with more complex techniques.
So may I just add to what Galen said? Oh, actually, one of the things that I think Ken probably has done the best is your work is out there, and really anyone virtually in this world, if they want to, they can access, they can play with it, right? So in our methodology, it is because we really wanted to, and Ken also kind of said already, how can you actually engage, attract the people to use your tools, right? So that's why in my work, actually, said a little bit, it is that first of all, you have to actually give them a jump start. They have to feel like this is something useful for me, and I can use it. Second part of it is because the system will never be perfect. So then you have to give those people a little bit of kind of, how do you say, encouragement. They said they can participate and help you to improve that system. So that can, in this case, if the system gets improved, you improve your attractiveness in terms, right? So we actually have done a lot of studies in terms of this on crowd platforms, the Crowdflower on Amazon, Botanic Turk, which has really worked out nicely because those people, of course, you can say it is they're probably a selected population as well because they won't get paid, right? But it's just for type of work we ask them to do are non-trivial tasks, and they are really able to use our systems to perform those tasks and complete tasks. And the way how a group of crowd actually help to improve the systems, the results can really be used to benefit the next group of crowd. So we showed, I didn't get a chance to say today, actually we just submitted the paper. We found that the group input, the feedback to improve our system quality in terms of natural language and analytics will greatly improve this in actually statistical point of view. It is statistically actually make the second group of people task time much shorter. So they can basically perform their tasks faster and equally well, which means they complete the same type of tasks. But faster is because they don't need to go through the mistakes the system actually made, right?
And also, one thing I really liked about what you showed, Michelle, is this idea that the participants could then correct their own, how the system was interpreting their data. I really like that. And I want to think about that for our system because it's something we haven't added. But I think once a user inputs things, they want to be able to then adjust it and get it right. So that's a really nice feature that is interesting to think about.
This question might be a little bit odd, but I'm interested in how you factor the public opinion of those who might not have a voice on the internet into your visualizations. Can you do this, and do you think it's meaningful, and what might it mean in terms of the actual visualization?
Well, this reminds me of a visualization that I recently saw about deletion discussions on Wikipedia, and sort of highlights the broader problem that a lot of our internet systems like Wikipedia have with demographic imbalance. So Wikipedia is overwhelmingly a male invention, and the editors are overwhelmingly male, and male participation is overwhelmingly dominant. And so when you think about what that means for what millions and billions of people are looking at online for information, this is a male-created phenomenon. It's also heavily weighted towards the Western world. And there's tons of Wikipedia visualizations. Another one that I really like is shows you the world history according to Wikipedia. And it goes through all the articles that have been tagged with the time and location. And it shows you like little explosions each time a big event happens throughout the world. And it's like all in Europe and North America. It's like this is the world history according to Wikipedia. It's all in Europe and North America. And that obviously is leaving a huge amount of information out.
I like that a lot. I haven't seen that, but I think your point about selection bias, it's exactly right, because we're in any of these systems, we're obviously only selecting people who have access to the internet, generally English speaking, generally people who have extra time to be able to participate in these. And I think it's a really interesting question of how can we start to visualize who's not there? What is the inverse of who's participating?
So I think that's actually I found this a very interesting question as well, because we're also get asked a lot. So if you use the people with, I think English said it's squeaking wheels, those get more grease.
Yes.
So how about those people don't voice? So I guess I'm optimistic in a way. It is in this world, I guess I'm banking on the mobile side of it, right? So as Ken said, maybe not everybody even knows about internet. Like in China, if you go there, if you ask probably 10 people on the street, probably 7 will tell you, what is internet? I'm serious. But if you tell them, do you have a mobile phone? I'm pretty sure 9 of the 10 will tell you, yes, I have a mobile phone, right? So in other case, it is maybe through those implicit activities, if they are willing, and if they know that they actually could have a voice in the world, maybe they can be encouraged to do so. Right?
Yeah, and this is why the field of public opinion was formed. Is we want to get a full picture of public opinion, not just a selective picture. And so we have random digit dialing. Dial the phone numbers randomly and call people up and ask for their opinion, whether they're an introvert or an extrovert, no matter sort of what sort of overall bias they have in their demographics. If you get a random sample, you can get a pretty good picture of overall public opinion for your population. So that's why those methods were.
That is people with phones.
But that's people with phones, and maybe we're leaving people out with cell phones. And we saw a lot of bad polls come out from the election that excluded people with mobile phones. And the better polls that performed, according to Nate Silver, the better polls this year were all those that included cell phones.
A question from the audience for Ken, specifically, I believe, but anybody can answer. It seems knowing how data visualization is made is of special importance. Do you have ideas on visualizing how data visualizations are made? Do you want me to repeat it?
No, okay. I don't know what to say to that. I mean, no, I think what we've seen today from all the presentations, from Eric's and Myra's and John's, that there's this real wealth of new visualizations out there, and that's exciting to me. And I've seen a number of things I had never seen before. So I thank you for those. I think one of what's exciting now is really that the toolkits are starting to become available. And so something like Wattenberg's Many Eyes project that's at IBM, still online, and a number of other tools that Google is now making available allow many people to participate in this game. So you can take data sets, government data sets, for example, and put them into visualization tools without having to be a programmer, which is very exciting.
All right. I think we have to end now. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Lily.